My sister wants to sell her share of our house, but my brother and I don't want to sell our shares. What are our options? The house is paid off and under our three names only. My father left it in our names before he died. However, my mother currently lives there, so my brother and I don't want to sell the house and make her live elsewhere. Perfectly reasonable, right? Because you want to care, or at the very least, you care something for your mother. But my sister wants to sell her share. Her share is worth around $200,000. My brother and I may be able to afford buying out her share and split it 50-50, but I'm not sure. I don't know what all my options are or how to go about buying her equity if that's even a smart move. See, here's the reality of the situation, right? If your dad left like a third, a third, a third to all the kids, right? If that's truly the case, legally speaking, well, your sister can't legally do a god darn thing because your bro, right, and you own majority share. So if you both agree as to what you want to do, then she can't really dictate anything at all. She has literally no power in this whole situation as long as you two are aligned in the same decision. That being said, if I was in this situation, what I would do would be try to find a way to get the funds between my brother and I to be able to pay off the sister so that she could just leave and that we could take care of the mother, right? That would be my line of thinking, just to get her out of the picture because she's just going to be annoying, right? It's just going to be an annoying situation. At least that's the way that I think about it. But let's check out some of these situations. But like legally speaking, she has no say. Like she can't do nothing. Let's see. So my father had a similar situation with his family home. He agreed to slowly buy out his sister, so she basically became the bank he was paying the mortgage to. They had the mortgage schedule drawn up by a lawyer, but otherwise didn't get a bank or their fees involved. I think she agreed to a 10-year term, but I honestly don't remember all the details. The house appreciated in value over the next 30 years, and when his sister died, her kids were really upset that my dad somehow cheated them out of the house. My memories of all the times we went without because he was paying my aunt for 10 years. Interesting. That's why it's so important to get stuff like this documented, because 10 years from now, the family might not remember exactly why the whole thing started. It gets especially hard when you start talking about the next generation trying to figure out why half the family has a house and they don't. Let's see. Hmm. You need to buy out her equity share in the home if you want to keep it. Otherwise, she can force a partition action to force you to sell. If she's committed to getting her share, she can make it happen. So you either come up with the 200K in cash or you go to your bank credit union and take out a cash out refi to finance it. The thing is, I think she could only really do that if she had a majority share. But I don't think she has a majority share, which means that she wouldn't be able to do it, at least to my understanding. I could be completely wrong on that, but to my understanding, she's not going to be able to do anything, right? But I think the smoothest position would be to just pay her off. I don't want to give out legal advice, agreed, but there might be some other options as well in addition to the suggested ones above. Try talking to a lawyer in your area with specific experience in estate planning and tax. So yeah, I would just like the person who wrote this is like, what happens if one person wants to sell but two don't? Does majority ownership matter in that case? I would assume that majority ownership would matter. Also, don't give legal advice on the internet. You could screw someone over. Okay, agreed, right? So just go talk to a lawyer and see what you could potentially do. Or if someone else is like dealing with that type of situation, find out. But in my mind, like, what could she really do? Keep in mind the expenses that would be involved in selling a house. A fair price for her share would be based on the proceeds net of fees. So probably more like 185K if the house would sell for 600K. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So you could probably save like 15K as well. Let's see. One, talk to your sister. Understand her whys and motivations. Maybe you can leverage something there if you knew what she wanted to do with the money. Don't make it about you, your bro, and mom living there. Make it a point to listen and understand. Does she need a lump sum or a steady stream of payments? Is there a deadline she wants the money by? 2. Plan with your brother and sister, make them accountable and invested into solving her problem. Don't just find answers and present them. If y'all want to make it through this as a family with a positive outcome, all hands on deck. 3. Involve a lawyer. It may be costly upfront, but more costly without one in the long term. Depending on how you want to remortgage or buy her out, you want to be aware of unintended consequences. Will she pay taxes on receiving money for her portion? Huh, that's an interesting thing. Will she be happy if the property value skyrockets in 10 plus years and make claims you owe her money? Why isn't your mother involved? What are her thoughts? Get the house in a trust. What are you and your brother's long term plans with the home? Do not get a home equity line of credit or HELOC for her. It's like a credit card leveraged against your home equity, amortized for the loan term, which can be up to 30 years. You don't want a balance that can go up in date with an adjustable interest. Agreed. Good luck finances can destroy families when they feel entitled to a certain amount and treat this as a dictatorship versus negotiation. Yeah, I mean, the wisest thing to do in this situation is to get legal advice because that would just solve a lot of problems, right? Because if you do get legal advice in this type of situation and the lawyer tells you, like, hey, in this state that we reside in, majority ownership is the law, right? Meaning that since your brother and you are agreed that you guys don't want to sell the home, she can do nothing at all, right? Kind of like how, like, majority share owner of a business, right? You get to decide the actions of the business, but minority shareholders can't really do anything. They might get to give their input, but they can't actually really affect anything or control anything. So, definitely get legal advice because that would solve a lot of the problems. But if I was in this situation, I would get legal advice to make certain. And if I found out that they couldn't do anything, then I would just continue on until I got enough money to just simply buy them out and then just cut them off because this is just a sketchy thing to do. Because now you're just tying up money with family and it's making it way more complicated than it needs to be.